Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com. Today I want to help you with your drums. I got two simple mix techniques you can use to create more fatness and more energy in your drum tracks. And you can do this with any EQ and compressor. So all you need is EQ and compression. Today I'm going to be doing it with the CLA MixHub, which is an awesome channel strip. It's actually an updated SSL model. It's an updated model of Chris Lord-Alge's SSL console. So it's different from the traditional SSL channel strip that I've been using forever from Wave. So it's a newer model. It's got a light component, so it's light on the CPU, some amazing artist presets, and of course his CLA hub view where you can mix multiple sort of tracks at one time and get a good overview of your tracks. So that's what I'm going to be using in this video, but any EQ and compressor, you can still follow along. So let's jump into the track and I'll show you how to create more energy and fatness in your drums. So just take a listen real quick to this section of the song for a second, get a feel for the vibe, and then we'll zero in on the drums. All right, let's just solo up the drums right now. All right, so they're kind of mixed. They sound all right, but I want to create, again, more fatness and more energy, more excitement. And there's a lot of ways to do this, but let me show you two ways that I'm doing it in this mix that have just proven to be really, really easy and helpful. And I've done this entire mix in the CLA MixHub. When I saw Chris demo this at NAMM earlier this year, I got excited for a couple reasons. One, because I already used the SSL channel strip, like I said, but two, the whole idea of having everything in the buckets is kind of neat. So this is what the plugin, again, looks like standalone, and it's your typical channel strip. But there's different ways to look at it. There's the bucket view over here. And in the bucket view, it's really quick, by the way. I was getting really nervous. Like, is this going to take a long time to assign channels to? No, it's actually way, way easier. So I'm glad Wave's worked that out. But now I can sort of just see all the different drums that have the MixHub on it. So I've got a few tracks and drums, and they all have the MixHub. Then I can see my bass tracks, my guitar tracks, okay, keyboards, not just a couple of them, and the vocals. So what I love about this is if you like to quickly just, adjust, and again, this is just the dynamic section. Okay, we can look at the EQ. One click of a button, we're looking at the EQ of all of them. Here's the drums EQ. Okay, you just want to make adjustments on the drums all together. You can see 8 channels of drums and just tweak the EQ right there. And then you can jump to the vocals and tweak all the EQ on the vocals and see them all next to each other without having to navigate to other tracks or open up multiple plugin windows. It's really, really nice. And then, of course, you have the input, which has your filters, and the output as well. So you can adjust the output if, let's say, your EQ or compression is making the track louder and you want to balance that out. That would be here. So you can view everything and work really quickly. So that's great when you're on the fly and you're kind of hunting down things and just making adjustments. But if you're really diving into the individual channel, you can treat it like a traditional plugin where I see the whole channel strip. So here I have the snare, and let's just solo the snare without this plugin. It's kind of weak, right? So let me show you what I did. 2 things I did on the MixHub, on this channel strip to make it sound fat. First, let me let you hear it. Before, after. Nicer, right? It's fuller, fatter, and a little more elongated. So there's 2 simple things I'm doing here. The biggest one is the tone you're hearing, and that's down here in the EQ section. And what I'm doing is finding that thickness frequency on the snare that I'm usually a fan of if the snare's not already thick enough. And in this case, it was around 250. And I gave it a boost at a 5 dB boost, so nothing too crazy. It doesn't take much in the right frequency. Now, if you're wondering how do you find what frequency to boost, because I get that question a lot, it's really simple. You give it an extreme boost, and you push it all the way up to 15 or however high the things will go, and you usually find a narrow Q, so you're really just honing in on one main frequency. And then you press play and you start to sweep around and listen to what that snare sounds like at different frequencies. And you might be, in this case, usually between 200 and 400, usually between 200 and 300, honestly. And if you need to go a little bit lower, you could drop down to this range right here. But I just move and sweep at an extreme volume until I find where I feel that I like the tone that's coming out. Granted, it will be an exaggerated version of the tone, but I can go, that's where the meat is on the snare. Once I find it, I then back it down to anywhere between 3 to 6 dB of a boost. In this case, I left it at 5. And for boosts, I like to have a more gentle, rounder, wider cue, so it's not as extreme sounding. For cuts, you can get a lot more narrow and precise. That's just a little bonus tip for you. So that's the EQ you're hearing there. That's what kind of fattens it up. And you can tell the difference between that. Let me turn off the dynamics, and you can just turn the EQ on and off. So before. Right? Nice and full and fat. But the second step is this. You go to the compression. That's why I love channel strips. I don't need another plugin. And in this case, you want to get as aggressive as you can on the snare. The idea here with the compressor, with this type of move, is we want to really catch those transients. We want it to be fast and aggressive, so we're really squeezing the transient, the loudest part of the snare, turning that down, and then allowing the makeup gain to turn everything back up to where it was, which in essence turns up the tail or the sustain of the snare, making it sound fatter and more elongated. In this case, what I love about the MixHub is they got smart and put two types of compressors in here. So the default one, the black one, is the desk compressor. That's your SSL compression, which I love SSL compression, by the way, just channel compression. On the E channel, I use that all the time. It's great on vocals. It just is really, really musical compressor. But what they did was they took Chris's 1176 Blue Stripe, which is a super aggressive, super fast compressor, and they modeled it and slapped it into the same plugin at one click of a button on the Bluey section, the Bluey type. You swap out a compressor, which is great because I have a couple different brands of Blue Stripes, including the Waves one. And now I don't even need to go get it because it's already right here. So what you can do is try different sounding compressors at one click of a button and see which works best on this sonic material. It's not always going to be the Bluey because it's really fast and aggressive. But in this case, I wanted an aggressive, fast compressor. I even flipped it from regular attack to where it says F attack, fast attack, okay? Even faster. And really quick release here. Really quick release is fine. But what I'm doing is just getting a normal ratio and just getting it to slam. So look at the gain reduction here and take a look at what this snare is doing. Well, let's turn it on. Hear how that elongates the tail of the snare? Before it's like bam, and then it's gone. Now it's like bam, and it has a longer, more aggressive, fatter tone. I'll turn it off to start, and then we'll turn on the compressor. Way better. You put the two together, and again, we go from this on the snare to this. One EQ move, one compression move, and you can do it all in the MixHub. Now, the other thing I'm doing to make these drums more exciting, and if you have a room mics, you can do this. So here we are on the room, and this is a really cool sound. Let me just solo this. Right, and so this is a room mic without any cymbals, which is great. So we just get kick and snare. And it's a mono, which I'm a huge fan of, just a simple mono track put up the middle, because what we can do is make this really aggressive. And that's, again, where compression comes into play. And I'm using the compressor, the same Bluey, because it's super aggressive. Let's look at the gain reduction here. And you're going to see I'm really trying to slam this track to, again, turn down the obvious peaks, which would be the kicks and the snares, to then, with the auto makeup gain that this plugin has, it brings up the loudness back to where it was. It's basically turning up the in-between the kick and the snare, which is the tone of the drum in the room, which is the energy of the drum in the room. So you get it's like having an energy knob. So take a listen to what this does. Super nice, right? So cool. So it's elongating it, it's bringing out tone, it's just making things fatter and more aggressive. And again, you can do this on the regular desk compression, but it's not as aggressive. And so if you have the MixHub, go with the Bluey on your room mics, and it's really gonna make a big difference. So when you put that all together on the drums, we'll just solo all the drums, and then what we'll do is we'll grab the snare top and we'll grab the room, and then we'll be able to bypass them both. Very simple, more aggression, more energy, fatter snare. And before you go, I want to give you something to help you dive a little bit deeper into this production when you're working on your songs. It's called my 6 Steps to a Radio-Ready Song Guide. It's absolutely free. It walks you through the 6 steps of production, because mixing, as important as it is only one of 6 steps. And to get your mixes sounding as good as possible when you stream it on Spotify or wherever you release your music, you need to have walked through all 6 of these phases and steps in the song creation process, so it sounds what I call radio ready. It's a simple PDF. Download it, reference it whenever you want when you're making music, no matter the genre, and you can grab it for free at radioreadyguide.com. Again, this is Graham from recordingrevolution.com. Thanks for watching, and happy mixing.